everybody, welcome to the next episode of ERT. My name is Derrick.
And I'm Kara.
So to start things off, I know some of this is probably a little bit old news, but there has a few things that has happened in the, the latest coaster news or whatever you want to say.
A lot of things. Things. A lot of little things.
But good little things. Well, most anyways. But
most.
So I already did a video and I talked about how Intimidator is getting rethemed to Thunder Striker, which the name is fine, but it just doesn't fit the ride.
I still feel like it's a joke.
I mean, everybody's calling it, it's like the AI generator name. Like, it's like, here, give us the name. And it just came up with that.
Give me a good roller coaster name.
Yeah.
I still don't. It's even worse than that.
Yeah. And then the other big news, which thankfully, so Montezuma's Revenge was supposed to get a whole refurbishment. It was actually supposed to open in 2023. And then there was that whole fiasco with, I guess, the whatever company that was hired to do it. I don't know exactly all the details that happened. And everybody thought the coaster was done for. But then they announced just a week or so ago that, hey, Montezuma's Revenge is coming back. It looks like it's going to be the same exact thing that we were promised before. But should be, it's nice to see that they're holding on to a classic, even though it'll have a little bit, some upgrades. But looking forward to go check that out, hopefully, along with Accelerator.
Oh my gosh. Yes, because when we were at Knott's, it was just laying there in pieces.
And Silver Bullet, yeah.
I would say there's a lot more coasters at Knott's, so we didn't get to ride.
Yeah, I didn't really get any footage of it either, because I think you can see like the one tower, I think was the back.
For Montezuma?
Yeah,
Is
the
that
back spike, I think was the only thing that was standing.
But they were just pieces on the ground that you could see when you were riding, Jaguar?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other big news, which I think most should be pretty excited about this, is that Skyrush is getting new restraints.
This
and
is
I
the
do
big
believe
news I'm excited
new
for.
seats anyways. New seats and restraints. Very excited. And the reason I'm really excited, because at one point Skyrush was my favorite roller coaster. I acknowledge that ride still has some of the best airtime that you will find on any roller coaster, because it's insane. It is very aggressive. Now, it looks like we're going to get pretty much the same style of seats and restraints that you have on Velocicoaster. It should be so much more smooth. Well, I wouldn't say smooth, but we'll get to that. But should be so much more comfortable. Your thighs shouldn't be destroying you by the end of the ride. Hopefully. If it is, then I guess that's another
What was
debacle.
the point?
But yeah. But very excited, because I think that's really going to improve that ride so much. And I think Skyrush will become my new favorite coaster in that park again.
Really?
I really do, because I mean, I love that roller coaster, except the restraints. And it does have a rattle, and I'm kind of curious if this will actually end up alleviating that whole issue, because I'm assuming they're redoing the whole trains, but...
Right, but they wouldn't be doing anything to the track.
No, I think the rattle is more of the trains than it actually is the track.
Maybe.
So, very excited about this.
Do we have a date for when the trains will be on the track?
As far as I'm aware, it is going to be opening with the park on opening day, which I believe is March 29th.
Really?
Yes, they usually open
That's really soon.
Yeah, they open usually, it's like, that's the weekend of Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually open really early. They call it like Spring Fling or something like that. Like, they don't usually open the whole park, but they'll open like most of the rides or something like that.
So here's a question. If they're putting new trains on the track, is it like when you open a brand new ride? Do they have to cycle it so many times, or do you know?
I really don't know, but assuming that it's probably once they get it all fixed up, and they could start cycling it pretty quickly. So, I mean, like I said, it is the beginning of March, so they have a few weeks left. So
not that long, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be here before you know it.
But yeah, very excited. I think that's just going to breathe some fresh air back into that attraction.
I'm excited because Skyrush has never been a ride that I have loved.
So, yeah, when I did that, I recently did a coaster battle I call them coaster duels, but between El Toro and Skyrush. And I think I still technically had Skyrush ended up winning, but I kind of am still more of a El Toro fan. But after these new restraints, I think I might definitely be in the Skyrush camp. But we'll find out.
I think you're going to have to ride. You're going to need to re-ride El Toro. You'll need to re-ride Skyrush. Hopefully we can get on both of those in 2024.
Yes, hopefully. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Time will tell. So that's pretty much for the news, but fun little small stories, but I think have big impact. And I actually even have a video where I just talked about very recently here, where I talked about how kind of a new trend in the theme park industry is to upgrade your attractions and not actually replace them. So we've been seeing that becoming more and more common. Even we've got Loch Ness Monster is getting the new track. Obviously, Top Thrill too. But yeah, you can check out that video as well. But yeah, so I'm just I think it's great. It makes sense, and I'm excited about these little mini updates. I think why tear down some classics that you enjoy when you can just make them better? And I think that's the way to go. So I did post if anybody had some questions for this episode, and only 2 of you decided to bite. So, but regardless, I did kind of post it sort of last minute. I didn't get everybody a huge ton of time, but nonetheless, I will answer the 2 questions. So the first one comes from, is that Chalk Coasters? The question he asked is, this is kind of an opinion question, but do you prefer King's Dominion or Busch Gardens Williamsburg based solely on their rides? And my gut reaction is say, well, it's obviously Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
Obviously.
But it is a little bit challenging because I really, really love Twisted Timbers.
Obviously.
But I guess that's really comes down to is I would still prefer Busch Gardens Williamsburg because I really love Pantheon, Apollo's Chariot's still good, Alpengeist, Griffin, even Dark Coaster it's not super exciting, but it's still a decent little ride. As versus King's Dominion, you have a very amazing coaster with Twisted Timbers. I really like I-305, but it's not a coaster that I'm just going to ride multiple times in a day. Like, at most, I'll usually ride it maybe twice. Maybe pushing it 3 times, but usually twice, and I'm usually good. And some of the other coasters, I honestly just don't care to ride. Like, Flight of Fear, those old, that's a Premier Rides. That's a Premier Rides roller coaster, if I'm saying that correctly. I think it is. Those old style trains restraints do not fit me well at all. I'm like too tall, so I have to like really squish myself into
the ride.
I don't.
They don't. It's not that the ride doesn't fit you.
It's the
you
ride
don't
doesn't fit me. It should
are
be
too
accommodating
tall.
to me. But so yeah, because of that, I just don't care to ride it. It's just not comfortable, so I just don't get any excitement out of the ride. So I usually just end up avoiding, even though it is kind of a neat launching coaster indoors. So, and then you got, my mind is going, but the backlot stunt coaster. Family coaster, it's fun, but, the family coasters at Busch Gardens Williamsburg are so much better.
They're better.
Grizzly did get the upgrade with the track, which, again, speaking of upgrades, there you go. They redid the track. They
Part
had
of the
Gravity
track,
Group come
not
in
the
and
entire thing.
do their, like, laser precision cutting or whatever to give it a much smoother experience. And I think it's just a better coaster overall, except for the ending. But... long story short, yeah, my answer still is Busch Gardens Williamsburg, but I can see some that would really aim towards King's Dominion.
Busch Gardens Williamsburg just has a more well-rounded coaster lineup, I feel like.
Yes.
There are more rides at Busch Gardens that you want to ride more than once.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the roller coasters, the only one, even now, I guess with the new track with Loch Ness Monster, I might prefer that one, but... it's definitely over Anaconda. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, Busch Gardens Williamsburg. All right, and the next question, I'm going to kind of abbreviate it because it's a very long, sort of long-winded question. And it is from Mitchell Rides 256. And he's actually more or less, he's asking me kind of an interesting question, but he wants to know, because the whole Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, will the Platinum Pass or your Six Flags Platinum Pass, one or the other, will that grant you access to all of the parks? As of right now, the answer is no. Cedar Fair is separate and Six Flags is separate. I think the rumor is that in the park, even the Cedar Fair corporate or whatever, the higher-ups there did mention that they would plan to roll out a Platinum Pass of some sort that would have access to all the parks. But I think everybody's leaning towards that'll be for the 2025 season.
Say, has the merger even been
No, the
completed?
merger has not been completed yet.
I didn't think so.
I think the goal is somewhere between April to June, something around there. I think is when the goal of the idea is.
Do you know where we are right now? Like what step of the process? I'm assuming it has to be approved by people and...
It has to get approved by, I'm sorry, I can't remember what government official that oversees this kind of stuff. But... it is in that stage right now for that approval, and I guess there's a couple things that they have to go through right now on that. So we'll see what happens, but I'd be shocked if it doesn't go through. I don't really see anything that would hold this up. I know some people talk about, this creates a monopoly, and I will keep saying this again. there's really no such thing as a monopoly in the theme park business. And plus, there's plenty of other chains out there in the States alone. I mean, obviously, you got Disney, Universal, Hershey, Busch Gardens, the Palace Entertainment. There's other theme parks out there. And plus, theme parks don't just compete with theme parks. They are entertainment. They compete with lots of other entertainment venues. So that's something people have to... I mean, obviously, like, for example, there's a reason why a theme park that was in... the Hard Rock Park. Okay. It was built close to, was it Myrtle Beach or whatever? It's off North South Carolina. I can't remember exactly which one where it is, but it's pretty close to the beach. The park was a failure, and mostly because they just didn't have the audience for a theme park there. Everybody was more interested in the obviously the ocean, the beach, and it just didn't work. Not to say that people wouldn't be interested in the park, but again, you got to know your audience and where you're going, and what people want to do at those vacation destinations. So nonetheless, I still think it'll go through.
So you don't think a park could work at a beach?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So what about all like the boardwalk parks? They do just fine.
No, that park that's going way off on a rabbit trail.
It is, but I'm saying there were more issues with that park than just its location.
There was a lot of, especially at the end, they just sort of like gave up on some, like they had done some amazing theming stuff, and then on certain rides they're like themed.
So you're saying
the
same
a carnival ride.
The same people who owns Fun Spot Atlanta are related to the people who own them.
Except Fun Spot Atlanta is a carnival. This was not a carnival. Different. But back to your question though, yeah, I don't see it. And if it did happen this year, I will be pretty upset, to be truly honest, if your pass suddenly gets the access to all the parks. And the reason why I say it is I have a membership at Six Flags, and I also have my Cedar Fair Platinum Pass. Or actually, how they go by it now is you have your Gold Pass, and you have to buy the All Parks Access or whatever. So there is no Platinum Pass anymore in the world of Cedar Fair. But I would be pretty annoyed if they just merged those right now and said, hey, guess what? Your Platinum whatever pass can give you access to all the parks. For some, sounds great, but for those who've already bought into both, it also makes you feel like you have a product that is now useless. Unless they want to refund us for that. But yeah.
That would work. I would say it's just too late. It's already March.
Yeah.
It's too late in the year. I mean, you've already sold season passes for 2024 to backtrack and to change things.
Yeah, I think it's definitely
so 2025. They will, like, once we get around to the end of the season in 2024, once Black Friday rolls around, which is when a lot of people buy their season passes, that's when I feel like we'll start to see package deals, right?
Yeah. And most of the time, well, at least on the Cedar Fair side, they roll out their next year's season passes, usually like in August, and usually say, hey, buy the next year's season pass now and get, the rest of the year free. So they could roll this out as well. Like, hey, guess what? Now you get access to Six Flags this year as well at, in August or something like that. And that's a different story.
So I was going to say, what kind of price tag do you put on a ticket like this?
Everybody, I hear some saying like, oh, now it's going to be like double the price. It's going to be $400. And I don't really think it matters about how many parks, because the truth is most people aren't like us. They're not trying to travel to every park in the chain each year. They will have a couple parks they'll hit up, and now it'll make it a little bit more convenient. But I still think, because again, they're competing with more than just other theme parks, and people do call Six Flags the budget chain, and now it's merging with Cedar Fair, which I do clearly say is a step up. I still think they're going to aim somewhere between a price tag between $200 and $300 for this Gold Pass / Platinum Pass or whatever it'll be called. I'll be surprised if it's more. I know Busch Gardens, those ones vary by each park, but the higher ends are $400, and some of them go down to like $279. So I would say at the very least, this would be at the higher end of the Busch Garden parks. At the lower end of the Busch Garden parks, you'd find. So time will tell.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
If they sell a full, you can go everywhere at any time ticket, or if they split things up.
Or what they do with like the food pass. And I think you might see a structure change in how your pass actually works and what's included and what's not included. You might see some of that, I think. But I think overall, I don't think they want to change the price too much because, like I said, most people aren't just rushing out to every park and like, we got to hit 30 parks out of this deal. So,
well, right. And I feel like Six Flags, a lot of the Six Flags parks that we've been to, a lot of their audience is a local audience.
Exactly.
Like Kennywood has a very local audience. And a lot of the Six Flags parks do as well. You're not traveling. A lot of people don't travel to go to specifically a Six Flags park, whereas like Cedar Point is like a destination.
Yeah.
So you have to keep those local people happy and coming back.
And where that Platinum Pass, whatever the Six Flags, the new Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, whatever pass, I think where it's going to be very appealing will be at places like in California, because you'll have Knott's Berry Farm and Six Flags Magic Mountain. They're like an hour away from each other. And also here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Six Flags, Great Adventure, and Dorney Park are only about an hour to an hour, 15 minutes away from each other. So for the locals there, like you're really winning on that one. So definitely worth your time on that.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a short game for you.
You have a short game for me. You always have all these games for me.
Is there an echo?
Maybe one day I'll have a game for Kara, but we'll get there. Not today, sorry.
I don't want a game. I like to be the one in charge of the game. Okay, so I called this game the most common.
The most common.
The most common. So I referenced mostly RCDB for some of these things. And the question is, what is the most common like type or... We'll get there. Okay. So what is the most common... This should be an easy one. The most common roller coaster lift.
A chain lift?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to guess how many there are in the world?
Chain lifts? Let's see here. If I recall, there's a little over... I'm sorry, when you get into China is where it gets really iffy, but I think there's somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 roller coasters in the world. So I would say the answer is probably somewhere between 2,000 and 2,300.
According to RCDB, there's 2,926.
I'm sorry, 22,000?
No, I'm sorry. I miss
2,200.
2,926
roller coasters in the world.
Chain lifts.
Chain lifts. Okay, so I was lower on the coaster count.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay, so what's the most common roller coaster inversion?
Ooh, my gut would be say vertical loop, but it very well might be a corkscrew, because corkscrews are becoming more popular now. So I'm going to say corkscrew.
Nope.
Is it a vertical loop?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say that was the most common for a while, but lately there's a lot of new roller coasters with inversions that just simply don't feature a vertical loop. And even some of the older ones, like the first modern looping roller coaster was actually a corkscrew, and it was called Corkscrew at Knott's Berry Farm. So,
let's see. Yes. So according to RCDB, there is just over 1,000 loops in the world.
Loops.
And the double corkscrew actually comes in second with 274.
Okay.
The corkscrew, like the singular one, is 225. With the Cobra roll coming in really close to 213.
Kind of cheap. So they're saying a double corkscrew. They're just counting that as one element instead of saying two corkscrews. So how many loops did we say?
1,029.
And then how many double corkscrews?
274.
Oh, wow. So that's not even close.
Not even
Even
close.
if we doubled it, yeah, that wouldn't get us there.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Speaking of inversions, which park has the most inversions?
I'm pretty sure that answer is Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what park comes in second place?
Ooh, that's actually a tough one. I'm trying to think the next park that comes into play. Is it a park here in the United States?
Yes.
So I know the first gut reaction is, well, Cedar Point has a ton of roller coasters, but a lot of them now are starting to lower on the inversion chart. So is it like Carowinds?
You're on the right track. Cedar Point is in second place.
It is.
And Carowinds is in third.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't thinking Cedar Point actually hit it because a lot of their other roller coasters don't have as many inversions. But
So Six Flags Magic Mountain has 43 inversions in the park. Cedar Point has 28. And Carowinds has
off.
25.
Okay.
So you're on the right path. You're on the right path. All right. So what's the most common roller coaster name?
Okay. This is I feel it's almost
A trick question.
So the most popular names that I know off the top of my head are Roller Coaster, Wild Mouse, Wacky Worm. Those are like, I think on the would be on the top 3. As to which one is, I don't know. Let's just say Wild Mouse.
Wild Mouse? No.
What is it?
Roller coaster.
Okay, that's what I was going to say, because there's some out there that just don't have a name. It's just roller coaster.
It's just roller coaster.
Not here in the States, but when you leave the States.
Yes,
totally different
there are
story.
416 roller coaster.
Did Wacky Worm make the list?
I actually didn't look up Wacky Worm.
Oh, so you just have roller coaster?
I have roller coaster. Wild Mouse, there are 162.
Okay.
So there's a lot. I looked up Boomerang has 46. Jackrabbit, there are 38. So yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what the most common manufacturer is?
The most common manufacturer. It's not Zamperla, is it?
Nope.
It's whoever does the Wacky Worms, I'm sure. Who is it?
You give up?
I do.
Really?
I do. Who is it?
Vekoma.
Okay, I guess that makes sense, but I'm trying to pull a blank on what are some of their smaller roller coasters they designed, because I know obviously the Wild Mouse is extremely popular cloned attraction, and the same with the Wacky Worm.
Vekoma has 419 roller coasters in the world.
Who's the next, Emily?
I have next in line is Intamin
Really?
with 185.
I think your math isn't mathing on this one.
I mean, there might be like, maybe I made this list several weeks ago.
Is this going off of RCDB?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
I'm debating it, but we're saying it's Vekoma.
It's Vekoma, according to RCDB. Look it up. Tell me wrong.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to remember. I made this list a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure there's a tab on RCDB that you can look up, like, you can look up manufacturers and you can, like, put the list, sort it by how many coasters they have. Okay, the last question I had was, which continent has the most roller coasters?
Asia.
Yes. Do you want to guess how many?
Of the ones that we know? Because that's actually the whole point, is there's so many roller coasters there that we don't even know exist. But
give me a ballpark figure.
1,600?
No.
Is it more?
Yes.
Is it over 2,000?
Yes.
Really? Because I thought I think in the States you can hit about 500 credits here in the state or more. So
We're talking Asia.
But yeah, Asia.
You
Okay.
kind of said this at the beginning. You said Asia has so many roller coasters, and I was like, oh, well, he knows that.
So is it what, 2,300?
3,048.
Okay, well, that's way more than what I thought.
Do you want to guess how many roller coasters are in North America?
North America, which includes Canada.
Yes.
Is it like 600 something?
It's 979.
Oh, that's more than I thought.
I mean, that's RCDB. They do count like mountain coasters.
Yeah, they started including mountain coasters, which is fine. I do kind of consider the credit. And then there is a bunch of those little like family fun center stuff that have like those figure 8 roller coasters now. Like those have been popping up everywhere. Surprised you don't see them like at McDonald's now or something. But they're like everywhere. And so yeah, I guess it doesn't surprise me.
So there you go. You didn't do too bad. You did pretty good.
I try.
He knows a thing or two.
Yeah. Well, that's really all we have for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, feel free to shoot them down in our comments. And until next time, this is X Scream Thrills.
Bye.